Greetings everyone, Nathan here, and we are going to be doing part 2 of the survival mod creation. We are going to be creating a barrel this time around. Not too much really special with the barrel. I've already created the model and the texture, so that will not be included in this tutorial. However, they will be, of course, put up on GitHub, so you will have those at your, what's the word I'm looking for here? At your, I feel like deposition, but that's the wrong word. Man, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, you will have them available for you. So we are going to output survival barrel. Now, I thought about this, and I thought about it a lot. I was like, I can't use the recipe for chests, of course, to make a barrel, because that's just going to lead to conflicts between barrels and chests. So, I don't know, if somebody else has a better idea, please let me know in the comments, or create a pull request on GitHub. So here's what I'm thinking. We're going to do group wood, default tree, so you'll need a block of wood before you actually turn it into planks, and then group wood again. And then we will, got to put a comma there. We will copy that, but we will leave the center blank, because you don't put anything in the middle. And then we'll follow up with the same thing on the bottom. And actually, I don't even know why I bothered to type that. Just copy and paste the top line. Way faster. So we're using basically the same underlying concept for the chests, but we're using tree for the top and the bottom center pieces instead of just a piece of wood. So then we just need to close this up. Let's close with a curly brace there. And then curly brace and close the parenthesis and save that. Now because, oh wait, we didn't have nodes. I must have just made that. Man, I can't remember what I just did 2 seconds ago. It's pretty sad. As soon as we have to create the node Lua file, and if we're having that, we need to change this, which I guess I already did before I started recording. I forgot I did that. But of course, if you're putting a new text file in, you have to have it there. So we have that, and then we will pull up Genie here. And actually, I guess we'll just do it this way with Genie. And we have nodes. Now, we haven't made any nodes yet for this. Obviously because, you know, we didn't really do anything the first time. When you're making mods, and you're like, you know, I want to add this new aspect, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how I would do this. I find it's extremely, extremely useful to look at other mods. You know, find a mod that does similar to what you want to do, and then don't just copy it. I mean, there are things where you have to, because it is how the game is made, you know. But, you know, don't just copy and paste stuff from other people and then claim it as your own work. If you're gonna copy and paste something, at least give them credit. But this portion here is all 100% copy and paste from the chests. I just changed the name from chest to barrel. So we're just typing out what the barrel uses. Now, whoops, wow. Now this is for the form spec, which is pretty much the, what should we call it? The on-screen display you get when you right-click on a node that has an inventory. Now, this may be changing. I've been following the 05 roadmap. I think it's 05, yeah. And there is talk of maybe doing a major overhaul of form specs because they are honestly pretty confusing. Like, I mean, I have no idea what a lot of this is doing. All I know is you have to have it. But yeah, it just, probably because I haven't read through the documentation well enough. But it is confusing, and there is talk of maybe changing some things around with it. So this may be changing for 0.5. Now, in the event that does happen, I'm assuming it's going to break backward compatibility, but I'm not positive. So maybe all the old stuff will still work, maybe it won't. I do not know. In the event it breaks compatibility, any mods that anybody has made that use form specs, which honestly is pretty much every single mod that exists. Well, I shouldn't say it. There's some that don't, but a lot of them do. And if they do, they're going to have to recode their form specs to follow the new form because the old stuff just won't work anymore. Whoops, that was not supposed to be a colon. It should be a semicolon. So yeah, I know this is pretty boring. You're like, oh, we just shut up. Why doesn't you just copy and paste this all? Because here's why I don't. You retain more information if you actually type it down yourself. So right now, I have. Oops, I don't know. Oh, I got a 0. Oh, never mind. Right now I have on my other computer this. So I've made this whole thing before I even started the video, and now I'm just typing it from one to the other. Okay, so we made the form spec, and we'll go over a little bit of here. This is your size, so it'll be 8 by 9. We're just going to use the default GUI background, which is kind of that dark gray. These 3 lines are defined in default game. So if you have Minetest game and your default's enabled, the default mod, those will all be defined. And then we're listing the current name at some numbers. Honestly, I don't know what that means. And then default get hotbar. That's the hotbar that's kind of like the middle center screen. Height of 0, I'm assuming. And a center point of 4.85. So that's the form spec for the barrel. Now, if we didn't have that, either the game would crash when you tried to right-click on a barrel, or nothing would happen. I'm not sure which. But let's get on to the actual barrel. Register node. And then I'm going to call it survival barrel. And we put a comma there, curly brace there, enter, tab. We need a description. That is important. Every node should have a description. And we're just going to call it barrel. Now that's what it is. And we need to have a long description, something that makes sense. Draw type. Well, this barrel is a 3D mesh. So the draw type's going to be mesh. Wait, what happened there? Okay, now because it is a mesh, we do need to define what the mesh is that we're using. So, following convention, we will do this. Now, you might be wondering, following convention, what are you talking about? When you have textures or models, you should always use the name of your mod, underscore or dash. You know, you could use a dash too, and then the name of it. That way, if somebody else has barrels, the 2 textures won't overwrite each other, because that could lead to some really ugly things. And if anybody ever wanted to make a texture pack and wanted to support your mod, there is a distinctive texture that goes exactly with your mod, and there's an extremely, extremely low chance that anybody else is going to use that same texture name. Unless, of course, they're using your texture, and they're adding your mod as a dependency to theirs. So we have the mesh survival barrel.obj. Now you can use other formats. I personally prefer OBJ. It seems to do everything pretty well except animation, and I'm not doing anything with the animation, so it works well for me. I can reopen OBJs if I have to. I can import them into Blender. The .x format I can't open from what I recall. And V3D, I can export both, but I can't open them easily. So I just prefer using OBJ. And of course, when I do this, I save blend files of everything. Now I won't be putting the blend file into the GitHub repository because I'll just bloat it, and it's not important. I mean, it's just a barrel. It's the exact same thing as the OBJ. Okay, so that being said, we do need to have textures for this. Otherwise, it'll end up being purple or blue, or, you know, Minetest will just grab some default color and use it. So, let us define the tiles. And here again, we're using the same convention where we call it survival underscore barrel. That way, again, if somebody else had a barrel, it won't have any conflicts there. Now, what groups does barrel belong to? Well, it actually belongs to all the exact same ones that a chest belongs to. The idea here is that this is the pretty much exactly same thing as a chest, but it has a different look. Now, my reason for doing this is because once this mod's finished, I want to do a let's play, and I'm going to be masquerading as a shipwrecked dude who obviously got shipwrecked. And I felt barrels would look a little more in place than like chests. If a ship crashed someplace, I just felt like chests wouldn't be maybe so much on a ship as barrels would be. So that's the only reason I'm adding this. But of course, you can expand this to anything else, any kind of 3D meshes. Okay, so let's explain these two. Param type light. Well, any 3D mesh has to have a param type of light, otherwise it'll show up as black. If you have the light, then it takes shading correctly, and it'll be, how do I explain this? At nighttime, it'll be dark, and then during the daytime, it'll be lighter. It doesn't emit any light or anything, but it reacts to the sunlight in a semi-realistic way. And then param type 2, phase dir, that is short for phase direction. That pretty much means when you put this node down, you can change what direction it's pointing. On a barrel, you know, doesn't really matter, it's pretty symmetrical. But if it was something that has a defined front and back, when you place it, the front will always be facing you. So, like the furnace has face direction as a param type on it, and when you place it, the front side of the furnace always faces you. So you can put furnaces in a circle and have all the faces pointing out if you stand outside, or if you're standing in the center, you can have all the faces pointing inward. So that is what your face direction does. And then you can also rotate it at further times using the screwdriver or wrench. I forget which. I've never used those. Sound. Now, we haven't done anything with sounds before that I remember. In my my old mod series, which was just making a goofy new mod, it had all sorts of goofy stuff. You know what? That may not actually be true. I may have dealt with sounds a little bit with the grass. I don't remember. But there's no reason to assume that everybody watching this series has watched the previous series, as it's not really a necessary thing. They don't build on each other too much, or anything like that. So what we're doing now is putting in some sounds for when we build the chest. It'll put a sound out, which I think is just kind of, I don't know, like a thud kind of a sound or something. So pretty much on construction, we call this function position local meta. Minetest get meta position. So we're just getting the meta of the object. Oh wait, you know what? No, we're not. Yes, we are. Wait. No, because now we're setting stuff up for the form spec. Is that indented right? We're going to find out. This may yield an error. Because now we're setting the string. And this string is a form spec and it is called barrel underbar form spec, which, as you shall recall, we just created up here. So we're setting the string, that's a form spec, and this is the form spec that we are setting for this object. So this barrel now has a form spec set up on it. So when you click on it, there's something for it to display. And then we are going to do the same thing again, but this time we're not setting up a form spec. This time we are doing info text. Info text can display different things. In this case, we're just going to have it say barrel. So when you mouse over this object, you will get a little text pop up on screen that says barrel, so you know what it is. As if the picture or the 3D model of a barrel wasn't enough to let you know, oh, hey, wait, this is a barrel. You can do more advanced things with that, though. You can have it change depending on if there's material in it, or like the furnace will tell you what percentage it's done burning and things. But for right now, we're just going to leave it blank. Okay, and then we're doing a local inventory, made to get inventory, and that is important because if you don't do that, you won't have an inventory set up. So let's set the size, which we couldn't have done unless we had first gotten an inventory, because you can't set something that's not existing. And I keep doing double quotes where I shouldn't be. And the inventory size will be 8x4, which is the exact same size as a barrel. And then we will end that. And then we're going to do can dig. I don't know why I typed can. And we're going to call a function on that of player and of position. And that's kind of getting annoying, so I'm going to make that go away. Okay, so what are we doing here? Well, we have to check out the inventory. So first we have to do meta get meta, and then POS, which is just position, so it knows what we're talking about. And then we check our inventory. And then we return inventory is empty. And basically all we did right there is said yes, we can dig if the inventory is empty. If there's something in inventory, you can't dig it. So that's all this little bit here is doing. We're getting the meta on an object of its inventory, then we're checking the inventory, and then we're returning if the inventory is empty. And then can dig function is true. Otherwise, if there's something in inventory, it will not let you dig the item. And then this is we're going to have 3 lines of logging here, which I don't know if it actually serves any super practical feature or anything, but we will put it in anyways because barrel uses it. And I'm just going to type one of these because it would get really boring watching me type this 3 times. It is a little bit different each time, but it's still just get really boring. I mean, it's boring enough already. Okay, so basically, when you move inventory, it will write to the Minetest log stating an action happened. And that action will say player get player name. So in my case, if I'm playing and I'm using my player name as Nathan, it'll say Nathan and then moves stuff in barrel at stuff in barrel at and then dot Minetest ps2 underscore string. So basically this will show up in the debug text that, hey, at this time, an action happened and the player moved something in the barrel. They took it out of their inventory and put it into the barrel's inventory. And this whole list of items here are things that are all being affected by this. Or shouldn't say they're being affected by it, they're playing into what information is being put there. Alright, and then, because this is going to be boring, I will just pause it, and I'll be right back as soon as it's typed out. Alright, so, got that typed out, I'll just resize under here a little bit. And we're pretty much just doing two of the same things. On inventory put, and you know, I think I actually just lied to you. When move stuff in barrel, that means I hadn't read these three through thoroughly enough. This would be if I'm moving it from one position in the barrel to another position in the barrel. The center one here would be if I'm taking it from my inventory and putting it to the barrel. This would be taking from the barrel into my inventory. Like I said, pretty boring. And it just shows up in the log. I'm fairly certain that you could eliminate this on, it wouldn't matter. Because we're just saying on metadata inventory move put and take, write this in the log. So I'm assuming everything would work just fine even if we didn't have that. Alright, so let's just look here. We created the models and the textures files last week. I have survivalbarrel.obj in the models, and in textures I have this lovely, relatively high resolution. It's 2.5 megabyte PNG. And I know there are some people who, for various reasons, don't like high resolution photography being a part of textures in Minetest. And I totally see where they're coming from. Because yes, Minetest is a voxel game. And yes, your default textures are 16 by 16. However, I happen to like some detail in my stuff. So, I will make a lower resolution version of it. And I will have that available in the GitHub repository. For the moment, we're using my high resolution image. Alright, so let's play this game. And I would spawn someplace far away from trees. Let's run over to the tree. La-di-da-di-da. And we're gonna need three chunks of wood. Because we're gonna use one for the top, one for the bottom. Oh wait, we're gonna need 4 pieces. Because we have to have wood for the sides. Alright, so put 2 there, grab our wooden planks, pop those 2 in, drop these guys in place, and we've got a barrel. Now let's put this barrel out. Very nice looking barrel. Wow, it's an amazing barrel. Yes, it does look out of place. I agree. It should be something with that texture on it, admittedly. And now here, as I was talking about, kind of on the left side there it says barrel. That's our info text. We right click. We get our normal inventory. Let's grab this wood right there. We can pop that into the barrel's inventory. Now we try digging it, and it just pops back up. Now unfortunately it still does the crack animation on it, and still lets you try to dig it. But it will not make it disappear because, well, it kind of flashes, disappeared for a fraction of a second there. And that is because of the information we put in there. So now, let's jump over to... And you know, I should have cleaned out the log. It's probably massive. Here we go. Oh, hey, look. This is the debug text, by the way. And it says... Couldn't open character PNG. Okay. Anyways, so we dug some trees, we crafted some default wood, crafted survival barrel. We placed the barrel, face direction of 1. We placed 2 nodes of wood, we dug a node of wood, and then we moved stuff to barrel. Again, with the location. It does not say what material we moved to the barrel, but it says we moved it to the barrel. So that's where that plays out. Again, I think you could eliminate it and it wouldn't hurt anything. And I'm sure this has been going for a while, so I'm probably going to cut it off here. I will not show you how to update this on GitHub because I have forgotten already. So I'll have to refigure that out. But it will be on GitHub before this video is even uploaded. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back again next week, and we'll probably be looking at, I'm hoping like either the machete or the beds. So one of those two. I was going to do the beds today, but I didn't have enough time to figure out how to make them work. So I had to fall back on something that I knew. But machetes or beds next week.